if a spoon was used in a Basar situation, milk spoon in a meat pot, or vice versa, and the spoon had 60 times it, what's the halacha of the pot? Sorry?
Sorry.
So the pot is mutter, the food is mutter, what about the spoon?
That is trade. Yeah, you can only use a spoon because there's a part of the string.
So discussion.
Exactly. Right. Correct. The spoon is the spoon a chatichan asas avela, or is it just milchiks and fleishiks both? Eh? The question is, obviously you cannot use this spoon. We don't cash it with milk, although it's a good idea. We don't cash it. The spoon is fleishik.
Into a boiled chicken. Okay. And that's 60 against the spoon.
Yeah.
But because of boiling, you cannot say like in the middle of the spoon and come like in a way flesh now.
No, that's the opinion of the. Who says that?
Sorry, it's very difficult to hear what anybody else is saying. Are you using Firefox again?
If the spoon is boiling, can it be considered kasher? Can you kasher the milk spoon, make it flesh? We had that idea. Who was it? Who said it yesterday? Sefer Eiter. We said we don't hold it. We don't hold the kasher and milk for fleishiks and milk. So Menela, it's considered both milchik and fleishik. So if you use it with either milchik or fleishik, it's going to make trouble. It's not haram? I'm asking you. So what if you use it? What if you use it with par? That's my question. I'm asking, if you use it with par, is the par food kosher or not kosher? Right. Let's say you did it. Does that make the par food treif or not? Everything is hot. Everything is hot.
But the spoon is technically both, right?
Yep.
It's meat and yes.
Yep.
But if you use it, the spoon didn't come out, so it will be
If you give the spoon a dinner hanan, so then the par is going to be treif unless you have 60 times. If not. So is it chadich or not?
Sorry, what's the actual scenario? I haven't been able to hear properly.
A milk spoon to stir a meat pot and a milk spoon to stir a chicken soup, let's say. And there was 60 times the spoon. So the soup is good, the pot is good, the spoon has milk and meat in it. Is it an avela or not? It has the flavor of meat and milk. Is it an avela flavor or not?
as long as the flavor is enough,
We had a discussion about this. You say Hanan and Kalim or not, right? We had a discussion about this.
I don't think it's a novella. I think it's actually.
You could say Hanan and Kalim. Masculine and Hanan, you could be Hanan and Kalim.
I don't think it's a novella.
Why not?
Yep.
Why not?
Firstly, you didn't specify whether it was Ben Yomeh, but
yes, Ben Yomeh.
Okay, but even so, anything in the spoon would have been effectively kashered, even though we don't do that.
We don't do that.
But that doesn't mean it's a nevela.
No, I'm just looking at the Arai Shulchan. Yes, it is an nevela. Sorry. I was going to argue that it's not, but he says it is, so I'll nullify my opinion.
But why is the milk in the spoon not bottled to everything else?
Because it's not considered kasher, so it's still there. And then if it's still there, the meat is coming into it and makes it unavailable.
I thought it would be considered kasher, but we just don't do it.
Well, we actually don't consider it kasher, so we actually consider it to still have milk in it. Yes.
Yesterday, the milk was about 60 times. If you had 60 times a spoon, and you didn't count 120, etc., I could keep using this spoon over and over again, couldn't I?
No need to do 120. We're talking about the first time when it has 60 times itself, right? But nevertheless, it still absorbed the taste of the meat in it. So it has both meat and milk, and the meat and the milk become an avela in it.
Yeah, but that's like what we learned yesterday. We had knowledge that we have knowledge multiple times.
That's for the flavor of the spoon that went into the pot. The spoon itself, which is not kasher, still has both flavors in it.
I have another question. Is it possible to kasher treif with chicken soup? Not milchik, but treif.
I don't see why not.
In that case, if you put the spoon in a second time, you can't kasher milchik, but you can kasher nevela.
I don't think so. Not this kind of nevela. Not basar b'challah. Because the fact is, it's taking out the flavor. Right. I mean, the reason I thought it's not going to be chadichanas nevela is because my argument was going to be that inside the pot. Oh, exactly. That was my argument. Inside the pot, it's not nevela because it's multiple b'shishim. Yeah, it's multiple b'shishim. It's all connected. As soon as you take it out, maybe it's considered cliche. It's a cliche. It doesn't. Shishim against the milk flavor. So it doesn't. Nothing becomes an avela. The milk flavor is not. No, when it's connected, so it's considered bottle b'shishim. So if you take it out, so then it's not connected. Of course, it's not bottle b'shishim at that point. But at that point, the argument can be made that maybe it's a cliche. So therefore, it doesn't have the heat to combine the flavors in a way of making it an avela. Anyway, the Basar Shulchan says it is an avela, and I guess it's following the view that a ladle is a kli rishon, even when you take it out. If you say not, then I guess it's not. Yes.
The food is mutter.
Food is mutter, the pot is mutter, and the ladle has to be kasher.
So can we use it as something?
The spoon is chana, yeah. That was yesterday. Sorry? Yes. Correct. No. No. It has meat and milk in it, so it's like an avela, it's like a mixture of basar. It's the flavor of meat. Okay, so if there's not 60 against it, so then everything is asar b'hano, even the kedera, right? So even though it's not the actual milk or meat, it's just the flavor that's coming out of a spoon, nevertheless, if it doesn't have 60 times it makes the entire food nevela, and the pot too.
It makes a new flavor that's like a non-distinctive flavor of either meat or dairy.
No.
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 If you can't distinguish flavor or anything, you couldn't taste anyways. Why couldn't you eat it? Oh.
No, we never like that. Sorry. If the kasher, we believe in kasher.
100% with you.
That's correct. We believe in kasher. We discussed the not bar not concept, where the flavor becomes twice removed. That's something else. But if it's not twice removed, if it's once removed, it's considered the full flavor, and you need 60. Although according to the Mechaber, in theory, you could go with taste, but according to the Rambam, you always need 60. Yeah.
the aim is now to serve everything, right? That's what he said.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, you can only give that food to the animals.
You cannot give to the animal. That's correct.
Is that a situation like
Well, yeah, and when you throw it out in such a way that they recommend varying, the river also, but not in such a way that you shouldn't do it in such a way that you're feeding it. No, not to the fish. I'm sorry. Put it in what, sorry?
The way, as long as it's very young on this form, so you're going to count it 24 from the last time you visited the pot, or remember last year one example that you're going to count from the second time that you visited in the dish.
Generally, an avela flavor can be refreshed.
So this is after 24 hours, after 20 hours.
You can wake it up again if it's not bottled b'shisha.
So you're going to come out
If it's not bottled b'shisha. Only if it's not bottled b'shisha.
in the dish or
In the vegetable.
in the chicken soup.
The vegetable. Okay, as far as the pot.
It's a Nevela flavor. It's a flavor of Nevela.
I'm sorry?
There's no such thing as Nevela flavor. There is instead flavor of Nevela.
Okay.
If there were Nevela flavor, you'd be able to taste it.
Okay. So, as far as the pot, what to do with the pot? The pot can be kashered, obviously. Another thing is you can use it for fruit or cold food. You can even use it to make shampoo, the Taz says. You should not leave it around the house long term because it's a forbidden pot and you're asking for trouble. And we said if it's a kli cheres, you shouldn't even leave it around short term because there's nothing to do with it. So what are you leaving it around for? If it's something that could be kosher, temporarily you could use it for other uses and eventually be kosher.
You can use it for cold, if it's klicheres.
Right? No, the Shach says you should not keep it around at all if it's cold. If it's kli cheres, excuse me. In other words, since it's a pot, so it's usually used for cooking. So if it's a kasherable pot, so until you get the chance to kasher it, you can use it temporarily. But it's a non-kasherable pot, so by allowing you to use it even temporarily for cold, we're afraid you'll end up keeping it for cold because there's no way out of it. You see what I'm saying? And then it could lead to being mistakenly used for hot.
So you can turn it into a flower pot, but that's about it, if it's klicheres.
I guess if you break it or something, I don't know. Make some kind of cylinder that it can't be used. Okay. We also discussed the question of if it was used already. Let's say you did cook something in that pot. Can you sell that food to the goy? The food has flavor of basar b'chalav in it, from this pot. But the guy doesn't really care about that flavor. So is that considered the Isser Hana when you're getting benefit from the food, but not from the basar b'chalav flavor? Just from the food itself, he doesn't care whether it has that flavor. The goy. You didn't make money off of the basar b'chalav per se. You made money off the food, which was cooked in a basar b'chalav pot. So some say that the whole thing is asur b'hana no matter what. You can't even sell it for anything. Some say, no, the hana definitely, if it would be actual basar b'chalav, meat and milk, you can't sell it to a guy, right? The question is here, it's a vegetable soup. Which you cooked in a basar b'chalav pot, and you didn't really benefit from that basar b'chalav flavor in the pot, because the guy doesn't care about it. For the Jew, it's nevela. But for the guy, is that considered benefit from basar b'chalav by selling it to the guy? So we had a bit of a machlokes about that.
Because there's a time.
It has a tamas machlok, which the guy doesn't care about. But maybe we say, well, if it has a tamas machlok, so then it's like basar b'chol. We can't benefit from it at all, and therefore you should not sell it to a guy. You just have to throw it out. Some say no, since the guy doesn't care less about the flavor, so it's not considered benefit. That's correct, but the question is that considered benefit from basar b'chol? Because it's
How is it selling? It's selling the dish.
it's not a dish, but the dish. Right, but the keli, the aspect of the keli that cooked it is not the basar b'chol aspect. In other words, you could have cooked it just the same without the basar b'chol. It didn't add anything. You didn't gain anything from the fact that there's a basar b'chol flavor in it. Right? The pot itself is not basar b'chol. Like we see, you can use it for cook.
For you, it's still awesome.
No, for you, it's awesome because we consider it to be a flavor for you to eat. But the question is that considered a hana if the flavor itself is not a benefit? Or do we say the whole thing is like a piece of basar b'chol because it has a flavor?
If you send it from the rice and that was something like extra basar b'chol, or when the Rabbanan becomes a count, how is not from the rice, also from basar b'chol.
We had a
So
machlokes about that. We did have a machlokes about that.
It's from the rice, so you shouldn't give it to the dog. But if it's only the Rabbanan,
We did have a machlokes about that. I'm not sure. I hear your argument. Yep.
I have a,
Exactly. You're not getting any hanaf. That's a perfect point. Sell the pot to the goy, the pot's treif. So what? You're not benefiting from the fact that he's buying a treif pot. You understand? Yeah, but not from the basar b'chol, just from the pot. Same thing, same question.
It has to do with maybe what the intent was. I think it's up to you.
Kelsey, what do you say?
just a bit out of left field. Why do we not consider that very tiny amounts of basar b'chalav mixed together are problematic? Because usually I understand we're talking about hana and about cooking, not necessarily eating. But when we talk about eating, we talk about minimal amounts. Why is it that even the tiniest amount for basar b'chalav is a problem? Because it's only something that we would eat.
What do you mean? Give me an example.
Well, when we're talking about basar and chalav, we're only talking about edible things. If they're not edible, then they're not considered basar and not considered chalav. Is that right?
Right.
So, could we not extrapolate from that if we take, say, 1 gram of meat and 1 gram of milk and mix it together, that's not forbidden?
Of course it is. Well, why not?
Because when the Torah talks about anything to do with achila, we have minimum amounts.
Minimum amount is only for the purpose of getting malchus, but for the purpose of it being forbidden, even a small amount, just like for anything treif, you need a small amount, even though you don't only get malchus on a kazayas.
Okay.
No, I understand that, but we're talking about when it is binyamin. It's not binyamin, it's for sure not chana, no question about it. Yeah, so you can't use it for either one. Yeah.
Could you use something to elevate it? Or could you use the oil to
Oil?
elevate? Like the elevator, you're taking something to trace and use it in the candle or something. To burn.
Well, you can't really think of oil that's basar b'chalav, but if you do have oil that's basar b'chalav, is that considered hana? Generally, mitzvahs are not for hana. Mitzvahs are not for the purpose of benefit. But
Like chicken schmaltz.
But on the other hand, we usually don't want you to do a mitzvah with the forbidden, with exactly some treif. It's not nice. Not sure about that. I think I made a mistake here, actually. I think I made a mistake about this. The food that you cook in the pot. I think the food that you cook in the pot you cannot sell to a guy. It's just the pot itself that's the machlokes about. Take that back. Why?
Because the town,
Yeah, but we consider it also anyway. Does somebody say that clearly?
Yeah.
Who says? בבקשה. Thank you. All right. If the spoon is any ben right? We'll continue. The spoon is any ben then everything is mutter, right? The spoon cannot be used with either one. Do you have it? Let's continue with Siv Dalet. Simon Savi Dalet, Siv Dalet. So if the spoon is any ben so it was not going to be anything that's any ben not the spoon either, except that the spoon has both flavors in it. All right, Seif 5. This is a famous Seif, my friends. This Seif is one that you should know because you will get a question about it. There's no question in my mind, no doubt in my mind. Who will get the question that I can tell you? But definitely a question is coming from this Seif. All right? No, I'm still in 23. I'm in Seif 5. Okay, so the Mechaber talks about a new pot that was used to cook something parov, and then you stirred the food first with a ben yonai milk spoon, then with a ben yonai meat spoon, or vice versa for that matter. And the Mechaber says that the pot, the new pot, it was a parov pot. I mean, it could be it was not new, it could be it was parov. Making something parov in it, and you stirred it with a meat spoon and then with a dairy, not at the same time.
It says dairy, you switch to one and then you go with meat.
Correct. That's correct.
Sorry, what was that?
When you had 60 times both the spoons, it's the pork.
It's a different one, not the same one. Same one is more complicated. Right?
Sorry, I missed what was just said.
You cooked something parov in a parov pot, and you stirred it with a milking spoon, ben yonai, and then you changed the water, and you stirred with it a fleshik spoon, also with parov food. Both of the spoons are ben yonai. What's the halacha of the pot? Oh, and you didn't have 60. You didn't have 60 opposite the spoons either time.
The third thing you did was stir with manual.
There's a component. One was said that you have to use it on the car. And the other one just with the last one, which is the alcohol.
So exactly.
The second use was with the
Exactly. The Mechaber says that you cannot use this pot for anything but power from now on.
Because you didn't have 60.
So if you didn't have 60, so it got the flavor of the first spoon, and it got the flavor of the second spoon. So therefore, you have a pot that has both Basar B'chalav in it. Now the pot is not forbidden, it's not Nevela, right? Because why not? Why is it not Nevela? Oh, it's not Barnat. It's not Barnat. So it's a not Barnat from the original into the spoon, food into the spoon into the water, then the water into the pot. It's actually 3 knots, right? 3 knots into the spoon, out of the spoon, into the pot. There's no food here. Just for argument's sake, just water. Very powerful. So what's the halacha here? So you're saying we're not going to say it's treif because it's not banana. So if it's not treif, why is it forbidden to use a Basar B'chalav? Is it mezix, fleishix, both treif, parav? It's strange. You're saying you can't use it Basar B'chalav, but it's not actual Basar B'chalav. It's not actual forbidden.
Because not Bernard is not used lechatchila.
Okay.
Although according to the Mechaber, it is okay to do that lechatchila, isn't it?
That's correct. Not is permissible to use lechatchila. So what's the problem here?
But only according to the Mechaber, right?
This is the Mechaber speaking.
Yep.
What's the Mechaber position? This is the Shach's question, actually. What's the Shach? I mean, this is not Banat, and therefore it should not change the status of the pot at all. This is a question of the Shach and the Mechaber. A second question the Shach asks is that even the Ramah, who is strict by not Banat, Lechatchila, says that if it's 3 not Banats, if it's not Banat, even he would be lenient. So meaning to say we have the once into the spoon, from the spoon into the water, from the water into the pot. So why does even according to the Ramah, it should be allowed to use the pot with anything you want? Yeah. Right, but it's a not by not flavor. So I'm saying, so why by other things do we say that banana is okay and here not? And it said it's not by not flavor, so it should be nothing. It should be like you have neither flavor. Why?
Because this one I'm talking about on a project is Benyon. So maybe not to make the difference between Benyon or less or not Benyon or make a total out that just is apart.
I think that because of the training.
Sorry? Oh,
Because of the training.
that's what the Taz says. Here's what the Taz says. The Taz says, anyway, the pot is power. Anyway, we have to decide which one to use it. Like, right? So the minhag is, when it's a power pot, you should allow the nut by nut to dictate the flavor. In other words, if it would be a fleishik pot, here's an interesting thing.
After the first year, they put the electric stone, and then have 60 against it.
Yeah.
We're talking about when you don't have 6 against the spoon.
Yeah.
Are we going to say the pattern main part? So we don't have 6 against the spoon.
I mean, that bin, it's not Barnat.
Okay, but we don't give the pattern of the steel part.
Why not? That's the child's question.
Because we say like the palm, even if it's a secondary palm, we have like a secondary
So this is the Taz explanation. Taz is saying, even though it's not Barnat, and really it should not be a problem. However, it's a parent's pot. It's Chumra Ba'alma. In other words, we're trying to decide what to use as pot. Power of pots, we're not really into power pots. We're deciding what this pot should be. So we're going to allow the spoon to decide what the pot should be. Anyway, we have to decide. So we'll let the spoon decide. And if both spoons come, so then we have a contradiction between the two spoons, and we'll tell you to use it only with power, or to keep, or to cash it. 1 second. If, for example, this pot was already a fleshik pot. You understand? One second. If it was already a fleshik pot and it was not ben yomer, for example, if it was ben yomer, then you could have an aveda. Let's say it was a fleshik pot, not ben yomer, and you use it with a milk spoon that was not bottle b'shishim ben yomer. That would not make the pot treif, because it's already a fleshik pot. We're not gonna. It's not barnat. Right, but here it's a power pot. We haven't decided yet what it's going to be, so we'll let the spoon dictate it. Yes.
The new pot.
Yep. Yep.
That's now the kind of the palm.
So we're going to say.
Now we put the water. We wanted new water.
Yep.
Now while we wanted the second order, we cannot say that they can become palm, but even the palm, the milk palm now is for sure going to be palm. But it's a secondary flavor. So now when you put the fleshik spoon in a way you went into a palm again.
If I'm not mistaken that one.
Could be a separate material.
Oh, well, the Rashba definitely holds of that. We said that yesterday. The Rashba definitely holds that whenever you cook water or anything parav in a fleshik pot or milk pot, it kashers it. Because it catches it, right?
Now the secondary flavor is going to be part of the decision in the water. It's going to be even more. There's not going to be any sense of flavor. And now when you put the fleshik spoon, in a way it's going to incorporate the dish.
Right. I don't have an answer for the bottle of Bashishin. That I don't have an answer for. In other words, why do we say maybe when you cook it the second time, so it already minimized the percentage of the, you know what I mean? Some of the flavor came out, some went back in, but it's not, maybe the second time around it'll be both of the shishim. That I don't have an answer for. Maybe you only did a small amount of water the second time, so it's not both of the shishim.
Does there need to be 24 hours between these two cookings?
No.
So it could be ben yomo from the ben yomo spoon, fleshik spoon, and then a ben yomo milchik spoon goes in.
Yes. Yes. As far as kashering, not as far as nullifying the taste in 60, as far as kashering, in this way we did have the Rashba says whenever you cook water or in a milk fleshik pot, it kashers it. But we said that the Sefer Trumas does not hold like that, and that the Machaber and Ramah do not pass like that, Rashi. They pass him, but you actually have to intentionally kasher something. Why? Because maybe you didn't fill it up as long enough. Whatever, you have to make sure that you kasher something properly. If you just boil water and you didn't intend to kasher it, maybe you didn't do it properly, and it's not kasher. The Rashba does hold an incident kasher for Basar b'chalad, for Basar or chalad, not Basar b'chalad, for Basar or chalad. No, you need purposeful kasher. Yes.
So the Machaber basically told me we should use it only for part, the Machaber can use it for part and with the same second flavor you can use it.
No, that's the shach. The shach.
The shach.
The shach. Shach says that since this whole thing is only a chumrah, because we said it's really not barnat, so the Shach says you should be allowed to use it with the last flavor, the most recent flavor, because that's the one that's going to be stronger.
How would the Ramah hold?
The Ramah does not argue on this Mechaber, so apparently he agrees with the Mechaber. Generally, if the Ramah doesn't argue, he agrees.
So the Mechaber holds that it's parav only or kasha. The Ramah presumably holds that. The Shach says it should be used with the last used thing,
Correct.
which is actually against both the Ramah and the Mechaber because it would not be something parav.
Correct.
How would we paskin nowadays?
I mean, the Basar Shulchan says in a case of need, you could rely on the Shach. What is need? I mean, you could just kasher it. It's not a big deal to kasher, unless it's a ceramic spoon, which I've never really heard of. But other than that, Shach. Taz agrees with the Mechaber as far as I know. Shach says you go by the most recent spoon, whichever is the second spoon. That's how it is. It was fleshik second, you keep it fleshik.
Did you say who's heard of a ceramic spoon?
Yes.
Have you been to a Chinese restaurant?
Yes, I have actually. Now that I'm thinking of it, they serve the wontons. They serve the wontons. Yeah. Okay.
You can also get a large version of what you see there.
Actually, what's in that? I just realized we're talking about the pot. I take it back. We're not even talking about the spoon. We're talking about the pot. Yeah. So if it's a ceramic pot and you have a need, then he says you can rely on the Shach to keep it with like the latest one. That's about it. Shulchan's sack.
And the Taz like and the Taz.
The Taz holds it's a chumrah, but it's a good chumrah.
So the Taz only basically.
Yeah, like the Mechaber.
And how like the Shach?
He says l'tzirif. That's about it. The Basar Shulchan says if necessary, you can rely on the Shach. Okay. Now, the Ramah adds that if you mistakenly use the pot for either machik or fleshik, obviously it's fine. Because but it's not going to be a problem with the because the whole thing is really only chumrah, not, etc.
Does that mean you should continue to use it for that?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a good question. I mean, if it's kasherable, you should kasher it. If not, maybe you don't have to, because at this point, if you use it already, maybe this right to just.
So can I put service vegetable on top of the flavor?
So now we're going to come to in the Mechaber, in the Ramah. Ramah's going to address that depending on the girsa and the Ramah. The Shach is going to change the girsa.
But if it's like the original, I don't call it, for example, computer,
Correct.
So the ratio number is like mignon. Or it was clear ratio, let's say using the micro, so it becomes clear ratio. Clear ratio should be
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure.
When we not sure, when we're going to use the ratio from the opposite flavor.
In general, as far as using it with kalim, we're going to see that the main halacha is that it's mutter. However, the Ramah is going to bring, according to the Shach's version of the Ramah, he's going to say that you should not use a not food with the opposite keli either. Even though min hadin it's mutter.
The last one that we use.
Actually, in his case, he's talking about when it only has one, that's ben yomai. In the case of Ramah, we're going to see he's talking about a case when the food had only one ben yomai flavor. The case of the Mechaber also has only one, because you used it first. Once you spilled out, use it a second time. So the food only has one flavor. So the Ramah there is going to say, according to the Shah's original Ramah, that the minhag is to only use it with the same keli as the ben yomai, which means, again, this is a minhag, it's not a din. The Ramah himself. It's a minhag that not everybody keeps, let's put it that way. Because the Ramah himself doesn't bring it in Tzaddik Hey when it comes to actual halachas of not barnat. He doesn't bring this minhag. And according to the Ramah, then you're allowed to use a not barnat thing in the keli of the opposite. You just can't use it with actual food. So here we see that it's a minhag that some people had. It's not necessarily accepted by everybody. It's a minhag that some people had. Let me see here if he says to do it or not. 1 second. It seems that we should try to follow this minhag. Seems that we should. Okay, so let's get to it. So the Ramah discusses the question of a slightly different situation than the Mechaber's situation. Ramah discusses a situation where you have a pot and a spoon, and one is ben yomai and one is not ben yomai. And you stir the food, which is a power food, in the pot with the spoon. Doesn't matter. So the ben yomai has a real flavor that we care about. And the ben yomai's flavor is not important. So therefore, what to do? So you eat the food what? So eat the food with fleshik if it's ben yomai fleshik and with no ben yomai. That's the Ramah says. That's what the Ramah says. However, he also says that this is only a minhag ba'alma. Ve'ele l'chumer ba'alma. Now, why is it a chumer ba'alma? The Shach has a very strong question. Why is it a chumer ba'alma? I mean, the Ramah says that when it comes to not bibishul, meaning to say when the flavor of a twice removed milk or fleshik comes through cooking, he holds that l'chatchila you should not mix it with the opposite one. Not a chumer ba'alma. He holds that that's the din. But the evan, if it's mixed, we're going to rely on the Rishonim that say it's okay. And Mechaber says you can do it l'chatchila. The Ramah says not. So why is it a chumer ba'alma? Is the question of the Shach.
What you're not saying is that the ritual will come actually place it. So when you put
Oh, for the normal, that not for not, with Bishul we don't, we consider a flesh of the
depends. If you hold it to the ritual compilation,
the other Rambam says, yeah.
and now you're putting the split inside,
Okay.
but the number comes around because only the flavor.
Second of Hanan because it's one of the Elim. One is Elim. I understand, but why is it only a chumrah to eat it like the big Yomai? That's the Shaf's question. Why is it not a din? One thing at a time. Pots, spoons, knives. That's Nagina's Basari is Basari. This is a not bar not flavor.
Sorry, what's the actual question?
That's one case of the Rambam. The Rambam has two cases. Either that you had 60 or you had Benyamin and Benyamin. I'm just repeating the Shaf's question of the Rambam. You had a pot and a spoon. One was Benyamin, one was not. And you cooked the par pot and you cooked the par food and you stir it with a spoon. The Rambam says that there's a chumrah ba'alma. There's a chumrah to eat the food like the Benyamin flavor. And the Shach says, why is it a chumrah ba'alma if the Rambam holds that not bar not with bishul should l'chatchila be kept like its type?
I thought that it's
Talk about Benyamin. I'm sorry, Yossi?
I thought we lechatchila don't cook, not that we lechatchila don't eat.
No, that's the machaber. The machaber says we don't cook with the intention of mixing. The Ramah says even if after it's cooked, we don't mix. If it's mixed already, he'll allow you to eat it. The chachila doesn't even want you to cook it that way. All right, my friends, so the shach.
Is this because it's a nut bar nut bar nut?
Yeah. Changes the guess. He changes not even a whole letter. He changes one little spike at the end of the letter. The chaf and the base is basically the same letter, just that the base has a little leg sticking out. So he basically adds a little leg, and he says it's bimin instead of kibin. And he says the pshat is that the chumrah is not to even eat it in the same kalim. To specifically eat in the same kalim as a ben yomai. Minadin, even though we're strict on not by not to consider it like the food, fleishik milk, or whatever it is, if it was done through bishul, that's only to not eat it with the opposite food, but to not put it in the opposite keli, that we let it go. But the minhag chumra ba'alma, the Rambam says not to do it. So this is something you have to remember when we learn. I don't know if we'll get to it tonight, but when you learn Siman Tzadikei, and you learn about not by not, and you see that you can't mix it with the food, but you can put it on the plate. But not so simple. Huh? I mean, I could give you how much of a good teaching. What do you have to do? Mazakashur, spoon is ben yomai, let's say. So we're going to say have the food, not just if the spoon is milchik, let's say, not just don't eat the spoon with fleishik, but don't even eat it on a fleishik keli. That's what we're saying. Chumrah, that's a chumrah. Because really the spoon is the flavor into the spoon is a nut, and the spoon is a nut bar nut into the food. So it's not bar nut with bishul. Not bar nut with bishul, the Rambam says you could eat on the opposite keli, just not with the opposite food. the chumrah is to not do that.
So basically, just to understand that, I said like the formula is basically not the same type of food, but you can use the opposite feeling.
No, the chumrah is to not even use it with opposite kelim. The chumrah is not to. That's correct. That's correct. Now, what if you had both were ben yarmai, but the spoon is batal b'shishim? Then what?
60 against the spoon.
60 against the spoon. Then what? Spoon and pot are ben yarmai. So we're just
Is this a new question?
Yeah. I'm sorry?
Is this a new question?
Yeah, but we actually discussed it already, so just a repetition. If it was batal b'shishim, even if they were both ben yarmai, then the food is obviously okay.
The pot is okay, and
The pot is okay, and the spoon is in trouble. The pot. Actually, yeah, it was parav in the pot. So actually, what about the spoon? Let's talk about the spoon a little bit, my friends. We never discussed this yet. I just realized if the spoon was ben yarmai and the pot was ben yarmai, and you had you had shishim against the spoon. So the pot is okay, obviously, because the flavor is batal shishim. The para food is okay. What about the spoon?
the spoon will become. What's in the pot? Is it?
What's that? Still is using the wrong word. The spoon was either melchik or fleshik. It was not both. The spoon was one or the other. So what happens to the spoon now?
The spoon becomes a nevela.
No, that was two waters. It's the same place. No, we didn't speak about it.
It's the spoon and you dip it inside. So the particle dipped, now you have to get a syrup.
Does it? So simple. Does it have blias asuras? I mean, I'm not accepting that. Parv dish. Parv dish. No, speak it out.
The part was dipped in the part of the shish. But what about the part of the spoon that wasn't there?
We're not worried about that.
What if you're using another dish?
We're not worried about that. We had that yesterday. We're not going like a bit of parrots. We're not worried that flavor comes down.
You don't like parrots, huh?
Sorry?
You don't like parrots.
We discussed it yesterday.
Well, that answers the question.
It's a very simple question.
Yes.
You used a ben spoon with a ben pot with a parv dish. The food is fine. The pot is fine. What about the spoon?
The spoon is treif.
Yossi says the spoon is trained.
It's a nevela.
Can anybody save the spoon?
Yeah, because we can say that.
Thank you very much. Moshe says the pot is not barnat. Both ben yarmai, but it's not barnat. Hello. Again, if it would not be batal b'shishim, then one second. Then it would be a machlokas machaber ramah. There's machlokas machaber ramah. Do we say not barnat when you have both spoons present at the same time, or pot and the spoon at the same time? The machaber says not barnat anyway because it dissipates in the water. The Ramah says no. It can meet in between and have a nice shidduch, a basar b'chalav shidduch. Everything is nevela, and that's it. Throw it out, kasher, whatever you want. However, if it's batal b'shishim, what are you left with? You're left with not barnat, and that's it. There's no nevela, but there's no happy meeting of basar b'chalav, because the flavor of the spoon, whatever it was, is batal b'shishim. So you're left with not barnat, my friends. One second. How about 1 second? Do you even have to kasher the spoon? I'm asking you. It's not barnat.
I'm asking what the difference from the 70.
Yep. 172.
אם יש 60 כנראה לתפקיד, מדוע יהיה המסמך?
איפה אתה? אני לא רואה את זה.
יורי, תראי לו בגלל 75 הפרקה בעברית. זה 25. נוציא הצבא. אם יש 60 כנגד תפקיד, מדוע יהיה עצמה אסורה? סימן שאלה.
כן, אבל זה, אתה מדבר בסעיף ג' שמה, לא, בסעיף ג' מדובר בתבשיל בשר. ספי מדובר בתבשיל פרווה. ספי, כדי שמישהו לא ירוקס עם מים, אתה מבין? סעיף ג' הוא משלים חלב. All right, Yossi, are you convinced?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, good.
I'm sorry to the spoon.
No problem. The spoon, which was ben yomer, and the pot was ben yomer, but you had 60 in the parav food more than the spoon. So you're left with a situation that's not basar or chalav, because you don't, let's say the spoon is milchik, for example. So the flavor of milchik is bottled. So all you have coming into the spoon is fleshik, but not fleshik. And the spoon is already milchik. So we'll let it be. Now again, we said a parav spoon that gets a not barnat, we try to be machmir, keep it whatever flavor it got. But if it's already milchik, and all it's getting is not barnat, keep it milchik. Because that's the main flavor it has. Well, it would seem that if you hold Chatichanas as Nevela, it could travel indefinitely because we say Chatichanas as Nevela. So every time it turns whatever you're cooking into an Nevela. And on and on. So it would seem. Okay, my friends. Now, what about the pot and the spoon in this case? Let's go back to the case where one was binyan, one was not binyan, but let's say you didn't have shisha, just for argument's sake. So what do you do with the one that's binyan is okay because it only absorbed the aim of binyan. Let's say the spoon is binyan, for example, for argument's sake. The pot is aim of binyan. So the spoon got from the pot, which is in the pot got from the spoon, which is binyan. You have meat pogum in the pot, for example. Aim of binyan, meat flake. The spoon, again, this is the Ramah's case. You have a spoon and a pot. One is binyan, one is not. One is milk, one is fleshik. Just for example, the pot is basari, binyan. The spoon is chalavi. Sorry, ena binyan. For example, you could give whatever example you want. But let's say the pot is ena binyan, basari. The spoon is chalavi, binyan. So the spoon is okay because it only got an ena binyan flavor. No problem. What about the pot? The pot has the ena binyan meat, and now it's getting the flavor from the spoon of binyan. Yoram says that it's treated basically. You need to say it's true. Moshe, what do you say? Moshe says you have to kasher. Let me ask you. I mean, I hear your argument, but let me ask you. Why did you say, since the flavor of the meat is so there's no chanan. Once there's no chanan, why don't you say the flavor that's coming into it is not banat?
But is it meat or is it liquid?
It's the flavor of the milk. We're talking about the flavor of the spoon, which is milk, going into the pot, which is meat.
It's a bad flavor.
It's not a bad flavor. The pot is a bad flavor. The spoon is a good flavor. The pot is getting the good flavor of the spoon.
Is this where we would have a machlekes between the Mechaber and Ramah?
One second. I don't. The Mechaber doesn't address this case, and I don't know if you would agree with the Ramah on this one. I have no proof one way or the other about the Mechaber on this one. I'm sorry.
Not all the cases when a machal saw the sir also. It's also the food when it also the sir.
Is the food also? The food wasn't the food you're eating. Give me an example. I need an example.
Things you have meat, parts, spoon, dairy, stick.
I understand, but I want an example. Only if the food is changed, then the pot is changed.
You had 60 times as much.
If the pot is not being used on a vegetable, and now you put the spoon inside. Okay? Because the pot is not being used, so the vegetable can remain hard because it doesn't get
So what's the spoon going to do to it?
So even the spoon, even if you say there's no 60 against the vegetable, but there's no Basar. Basar is right into the vegetable.
I understand.
If you go into the spoon, there's no much of the flesh, even if it's a bit the spoon will be okay. No question with the spoon. Okay, the mouth, you can eat it with the pan or eat it with
I didn't actually hear that.
Okay, my friends, here goes the Ramah. No, there's no 60, nothing. There's no 60. It's an argument that can be made, what you're saying. However, the Ramah says that the minhag, the chumrah ba'alma, is that the one that's not ben yamai has to be kasher. The pot would have to be kasher. Why? All it's getting is a not banat flavor. So not barnat, exactly. Or maybe even not barnat. So why do you have to kasher it if it's such a far removed thing? So here's how the
Because the food itself has to be eaten.
It's only a chumrah ba'alma, but what's the reason for the chumrah ba'alma, they say? Is because they want people to take serious the fact that the food should be considered milchik. They felt, the machmirim, those that took on the chumrah, the minhag, whatever it is, they felt that if we're going to tell you that the pot is okay, so they'll look at you, what are you talking about? The pot is okay and the food is milchik? Make up your mind. If the food is milchik, then the pot is in trouble. And if the pot is okay, then the food is not milchik. So then they would start ignoring this whole rule of not barnat lachatchila, considering the food to be like that flavor. So they said, kasher the pot as well.
But if you did kasher the pot and you reuse it,
but it's going to be okay. That's correct. You make chumrah ba'alma. That's correct. Yes. I'm sorry? So I know what you mean by that. I know what you mean by that.
Inside the pot, for 24 hours. It comes to the
pot can absorb, but what does that help you? Yeah. In the case where you didn't have 60, if you had 60, you had 60, it's totally because you don't have 60. Big spoon, a big wooden, stirring spoon, or whatever.
So then what's the answer? We don't go by this, right? We did.
If I say that,
1 second. As far as going by the Summa, he says, since it's only a Chumrah ba'alma, so b'diavad certainly, if you use it without, it's not going to be a problem.
Do we have to wait 24 more hours to kasher? Or can I kasher right away?
You can kasher right away. As far as in general, he says if you have another reason to be lenient, since it's only a chumrah ba'alma, we'll let it go. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So in this case, it's always going to be that's what Russia wants the failure property owner.
Yeah.
And the customer will with the one that is paying to the other the one that is paying on.
Correct.
But here it's not the owner.
Correct.
This is going to be owner. And the other market both ways, no? This is going to be the owner from the owner, but the other market no?
I have to think about that. As far as I know, the Mechaber is Mekel here, because we have in general the Mechaber is Mekel and not even the Chatchila. And even though he was Machber before, that's by a pirate pot. We were trying to give it a status, so we're Machber. As far as I know,
with the
either one, yes, either one. As far as I know, I don't have any basis to say the Mechaber is Machber. In general, the Mechaber is Mekel, but not even the Chatchila, and I don't see any reason to say that this is different. Okay. The time code.
I was thinking that and the normal way, and the new color have both there, and not mixing that out there, you might have to rush
Something that has a tampon with a Basar is not Basar. I'm saying, it's not Basar, and but some say anyway the Chatchila you still shouldn't mix it with the opposite one, because the Chatchila we consider even a tampon to be important. Okay. Yeah. All right, my friends. My goodness, I completely missed out on a wonderful discussion of the Bach and the Shach. How could I not go back to that? I missed out on a discussion of the Bach and the Shach, my friends. Give me 5 minutes of your time, please. And let's just go back over that. If you have a milk spoon that you dipped into a meat soup. All right, so now you have a serious Basar b'chalav issue with the spoon, right? Yeah, it was Benyamin. Yeah. Not Batal Bashish. So now this spoon for the next 24 hours is like real nevela, right? My question is, it's not my question, the question is, what about using the spoon after 24 hours passed from when it absorbed the milk? within 24 hours of when it absorbed the meat. So now you have a b'diavad situation. Obviously, the Chatzili would never do this, but you have a b'diavad situation of a spoon that has a bad milk flavor with a good meat flavor. Now, when they mixed, they were both good. But now, by this time, the milk has gone bad. It is halal. It is halal. But now, the milk became pogum.
Could you please repeat the scenario?
Hanan is hanan. What do you say, Asi?
Could you please repeat the scenario?
You in the morning, you made yourself an omelet with cheese, and you used a spoon to stir it in the clean rishon. So you got a serious. Then you have a milk. And then at night you forgot to use the same spoon to stir your chicken soup. Now,
Treif chicken soup.
I'm sorry?
Potentially treif chicken soup, but definitely treif spoon, yeah?
Yeah, well, maybe it is, maybe it's not. Let's say, yeah, it could be. But let's just focus on the spoon. The spoon is an available for sure. So now we discussed that already. So now the next morning, later in the morning at 7 a.m., you use the spoon to stir something else, whatever it was, a pie, let's say just your plain egg. Okay, now.
As long as it's less than 24 hours from the last.
It's less than 24 hours from the second fever. But after 24 hours from the first one.
But the second one made it a nevela.
The second one made it a nevela, correct.
So it's a ben yomei nevela.
The ben yomei nevela, but that's what the Shach says. So I'll just point that out. The Shach says definitely that it goes by 24 hours from the second one. But the argument can be made, and the Bach makes this argument, that after all, the nevela is made of basar and challah. Why is it nevela? Because it has basar and challah. Now that the challah has gone bad, the nevela is gone. Just poof. It's gone. What do you mean?
When it becomes another, after 24 hours, and you use it again, it's
within 24 hours. Within 24 hours. Not after. Within 24 hours, not after 24 hours.
But you're not 24 hours from the second time.
I understand, but the first time you used it, the milk wasn't chanan yet. It just became chanan then.
But when you put on the second time, it becomes chanan. Like between the first and the second, now it's 24 hours. But between the first and the third time, yes, 24 hours. But not from the second.
I understand.
So you have to come before.
That's the Shach. That's the Shach. That's the Shach. The Bach says, well, the flavor that made it chanan is gone. So why can't we reverse the chanan? It's pogum. Let me ask you something else. Let's say you take I don't know, you take chicken that was mistakenly cooked with milk, right? And you brought it to a big scientist in a laboratory who has all the latest molecular equipment. He can break down the molecules. He has a microscope that he can see the molecules. So he sees everything and he separates the molecules out. He makes a big pile of all the chicken molecules, and here's all the milk ones. Is it kosher or not? Completely separate.
Not at all.
Meat, let's say meat. It wasn't separate. Now it's separate. I'm asking you. I say it's not. You say it's yeah, but after it was cooked, you separated it. And after that, you separated it. Okay, but now I want to take away the chanan.
So there are.
My friend, it's an argument that ties in the Shach. The Shach says once it's chanan, and there's no way to reverse it. The Taz says that it's chanan as long as there's any kind of mixture, even one molecule of milk is going to keep it chanan. But if you remove the milk completely, so that there's not even, I don't know if you can, I don't think you can, I think it's impossible, but in theory, if you could, then it would not be chanan anymore. So that's the Bach's argument here. The Bach's argument here is that it's pogum since if it's not there. If it's not there, it's no Hanan. Hanan is reversed. You don't like it. Okay. We pass them like the Shach. That's Hanan. That's Hanan. That's the simple halacha. That's what the Shach holds, and that's what we pass in. And anyway, I just had to share it with you. All right. All right. Shear 24. Onions and vegetables that are cooked with milk. No, this is not the real onions. That's later. We're just talking about onions, other vegetables, anything cooked with milk. They only have as much milk as they're cooked with. They're not transformed into one piece of milk. So, if you cook them with milk, only as milk as the amount of milk they were cooked with. They're not transformed into a piece of milk. Even though we know there's a concept of Hanan, which can transform something, but that doesn't apply to a parent item that absorbs either milk or meat. Now, if it absorbs both milk or meat, of course, that's Hanan. That's what Hanan is all about. But here, it's only absorbing one, so it's not going to be a problem. All right, so you have these onions that you cook with a small amount of milk. And then, by mistake, you added them to the challah, chicken soup, whatever. And you have 60 times the milk, but not 60 times the onion. You have 60 times connected the challah, but not connected the onion. Kosher or not kosher, my friends?
I think this is a machlokas, isn't it?
Out of where? Of what? We're not talking about milk in a cake. We're talking about actual milk. So when you have 60 against the milk, that it was cooked. You say all we care is about the amount of milk. Anybody else?
Isn't this a machlokas, actually?
Yes, it is. Good. You're getting the hang of it. Go ahead.
Whether the onion itself is considered an entire milchig entity, or whether we go according to the amount of milk in the onion?
No, that's not the machlokas, sorry. I thought you were on the right track there.
Oh, well.
One second. Definitely the onion is not transformed into milk, because you don't have the concept of Hanan by only milchig or only flesh. But there is a machlokas here, and I'm waiting for somebody to remember it. Or to look at the notes and see. I permit you. Yes. Okay, but what does it say?
Whether the is no longer permissible.
Why not?
Because I think I'm trying to remember here. Whether the food's permissible but the onion's not.
Give me a reason.
Because the onion. So there's. Is it because we don't know how much milk has actually left the onion?
Yeah, pretty much. It has to do with it. Yeah. Okay, my friends, here it is. I'll give you Rakiv Eger.
So you need 60 against the onion because the issue
It is what it is. Rakiv Eger explains that before the flavor of the milk gets a chance to be removed from the onion already becomes an avela. The flavor of the meat goes into it. The flavor of the milk hasn't come out of it. It becomes an avela. Once it becomes an avela, it's an avela. You need 60 times. Simple. You're right. Originally, when it fell in, it wasn't considered like a piece of milk. It was only a small amount of milk. Fine. But when it was cooking, before the milk successfully left it, the meat already entered it. The meat started to go in right away. The milk didn't leave until you were finished. So it already became a Nevela. That's Rabbi Eger's argument. Rabbi Eger says you need 60 against the onion, and the onion is also anyway. The onion is going to be in the Nevela. Throw it out. Comes along those that want to defend the Machaber, namely the Shach. Actually, the Rabbi Eger learns this in the Machaber. He says that when the Machaber says that you only count opposite the milk and the onion, he's talking about a case where you didn't actually cook it with meat. You only cooked it in a meat pot. So there was no direct mixing in order to become an Avela. It was only not barnat. Okay, but at least the simple reading of the Machaber is that no, even in a meat pot, actual meat, it would become mutter. And what's that? So the Shach explains. I shouldn't say the Shach explains that. I'm trying to explain the Shach's opinion that. Know anybody? No. Achronim explain the opinion of the Shach
That it,
following the simple reading of the Machaber, that the onion is not milchik and it's not an avela, and you don't need 60 times the onion. How do we explain that? Because he says
because something doesn't take in and give out at the same time.
Well, that would be more of a problem. Then if it's not giving out, it's only taking in, it's becoming an avela even more so.
But then the rest of the stuff doesn't become a problem.
Yeah, I can hear
If
that.
we take the onion out
We don't know when it
immediately,
stops and when it starts, so we're not going to be able to talk about that. Okay, my friends, here's what it is.
If we said that you have 60 against the milk,
Uh-huh.
so the milk is going to be butter. So it's not going to be in the way flavor of milk and the onion. And the only flavor that onion will absorb going to be a fresh flavor.
I understand, but the Rabbi Eger's argument is that before the milk left, it takes time for it to leave. It doesn't leave right away, so it should be chanan right away. The Achronim, namely, I think it was the Chavaz Das who explained this, that we don't give something the status of an Aveda until the story is over. Until the story is over. When the story is in the middle of happening, we say, wait, let's see what happens. Not so fast. So because it's the middle of cooking and it's already on the way out, he says it's not going to become an Aveda. Exactly. During the process, we're not going to decide yet that it's Chanan. So therefore, it does not become Chanan. That's the psak of. Exactly. According to that, the onion will be mutter. In practice, one should be strict like a Rabbi Eger, unless we have another reason to be lenient. I have a very nice case to be lenient, but I repeated it like 5 times. So I feel funny to repeat it again. No. This is my famous onion case. Exactly. And the onions were milchik, but they were only milchik because they were cut with a milchik spoon. No, exactly. So I'm saying in that case, even though according to Rabbi Eger it's a problem because then she cooked it with meat. Okay. The difference is that when it comes to cutting a knife, you know what I mean? Not everybody agrees that an onion is a davar chorif, to make a bad flavor good, to extract the flavor. Yes, but that's to be strict. We pass on that way. But there are opinions that say that the only thing that turns around a bad flavor, because it was a knife that was not benyama, so the only thing that turns around a bad flavor, some say is only the chiltis, and some say only its snoring draws out the flavor, into itself, not an onion. So even though we don't pass like those opinions, but here when you have opinions that do not agree with Rabbi Eger that say even if it was actual milk, it would be able to be mutter. So how much more so here when you have the other opinions that say it's not even milk? Yeah. Some say that, yeah, that because in the end it's all going to be mixed, so it doesn't become a label. We said, somebody said that. Not the Yonis and maybe one of the Achronim. If you have 6 times the onion, Uki Veger says, of course, but the Shach says you only need 6 times the milk. No, the Achronim say to be strict. Like the Veger, unless you have another reason to be lenient. Yeah, so. It's the same, it can't be more than what it had. No matter how slowly it goes, it's not going to. Some say that it takes a few seconds to release, but it's hard to rely on that because we don't know exactly how long that is. So there's an opinion that holds that. You know. Doesn't necessarily all come up. But we don't know how fast it is. We also have to be strict. Consider maybe it did. Maybe it didn't. So yeah, whatever it's cooking. Whatever it's cooking. Unless you have 60. Okay, Yossi, I wish you a good evening.
Thank you very much.
So he's asking for if you can email the last 2 shiurim.
Yes, I shall email everything out to the group.
Last night and the week before.
Yep, I shall do that.
Thank you very much.
So we'll see you again on Monday night with a test on Tuesday night at 7:30.
Yes, next Monday night is a dress rehearsal. Come dressed.
Okay.
All right. Just kidding.